Press conference, 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to bring that to you right here in the CNN newsroom. Now let's talk about the people who are facing all of this. Plenty of his neighbors have fled. Even his wife took off. But Malibu homeowner Jim Evans is staying put, even though he knows all too well that what a fire can do. His first Malibu home, well, it burned down in 1993. And we have Jim Evans on the phone with us right now. I want to thank you for joining us, and I have to say I'm really sorry with what you're going through, sir. Are you there, Mr. Evans? Apparently we're having some problems, but again, Mr. Evans and his wife have lived there since 1979, and as I said, their first home burned down back in '93. And we want to get him on the phone. We can understand they're having some cell phone problems there.
Oh, can you hear me?
Asking people, not to use their phones. Hey, again, as I said, as I started before, sorry for what you're going through. We thank you for joining us today.
Hello?
Yes, are you there?
Yeah.
So tell me about your ordeal. We know that you took some pictures as these flames were racing through your neighborhood. You've got some of the choppers coming in with water. You've got fire trucks as well. Talk to us about these pictures if you can see our air.
Okay. Yeah, I can see you talking right now.
Do we have his pictures, guys? Can we get his photographs up?
Oh, that looks like...
This is you, right, standing in front there in your neighborhood.
Oh, actually, I'm looking at a live feed right now. It looks like what Carbon Canyon looked like yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, there I am. Yeah, that's in front of the fire station right at the top of the hill. I think it's Station 8 or something like that, right at the top of Rambla Pacifico and Las Flores, right where they meet there.
Yeah.
That's kind of like one of the big lines of defense in Malibu, Rambla, and they had I think in excess of 100 fire trucks parked end to end on that street yesterday.
And what are we looking at now? What is this hill?
That's this morning. That's Carbon Canyon looking down from Piuma towards a house that was recently built there, and it looks, you can see it burned right up to that house. They managed to keep it from going up in flames.
Yeah, and we're going to continue to scroll through. We've been talking to some of the reporters on the scene. They've been telling us about these super scoopers that are coming through. They come through in pairs, and they put out fires, and at least they're trying to, with what you're seeing there, they're trying to get rid of that fire down in the valleys and up on the hills. Tell us about these fire trucks and what have you. How far is this away from your home, and what were you doing here?
Well, that was yesterday. What you're looking at there, it was yesterday about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I think that was probably the worst part of the day. From about 2 o'clock until 5 o'clock, that entire canyon was looking like that. I mean, all it was smoke and fire and emergency vehicles. I was only able to get up there at 2 o'clock. After that, everybody started abandoning all the houses up there and coming down. I mean, my front lawn was like sort of like a refugee camp of people sitting in their cars, like, from up on the top of the hill here. That was right by Fire Station 8 up there, and that was a drop they were doing. That hill caught on fire in just 30 seconds. I mean, we were there, the fire just started, and it basically enveloped the entire hillside, and they started hitting it with the airdrops.
This is the second time for you. I hate to say it, but it's a double whammy. Back in '93, you lost your home as well.
Right. That was a whole different kind of thing, because it started way back on the other side of Topanga and came out over the mountains, and it just swept over the mountains in a really short period of time. So in the period of time of that fire, say, I don't know, from it started around 9:30, maybe 8:30 in the morning, and came all the way across the hills and burned our house in this canyon at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah,
you seem very calm considering the situation. You're speaking very concisely. A lot of people we speak to are just sometimes too overwhelmed to even to form complete sentences sometimes.
I think my brain fried on the first one, and sort of sticking around for this one helped me kind of recover. Talking to the fire team. I mean, last night they bivouacked in my garage. They had their cots set up in there, and my phone was the only one that worked in the neighborhood. So they came in all night long making phone calls with their wives. I mean, there was a fireman from Fallbrook who came in all kind of panicked because he heard his wife and children were being evacuated in Fallbrook, and he's here fighting a fire in Malibu, and he was trying to get a hold of his wife.
Yeah.
So it was, it was sort of surrealistic kind of situation. But talking to those guys and the way that they said they would defend the house, and they said, well, we'd all just jump in the garage if it came through here real hot and heavy.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, well, if my garage is safe enough for them, safe enough for me.
Yeah, and those guys are definitely heroes. I got to ask you this: you ever think of leaving Malibu?
No, actually, I don't.
Not even with all this.
No, I went through the mudslides and the earthquake too.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I like it here. I surf here, and the good thing about Malibu is the fact that it's such a funky place in terms of the disasters that a lot of people don't really want to live here. Plus, you add the expense of the houses, and it makes it kind of like a remote place in some ways, even though you're close to Los Angeles.
Yeah. Well, Jim Evans, we certainly wish you and your wife and all of your neighbors the best. And when you see those guys, thank them personally for us.
Oh, yeah, we did.
The guys and ladies who are fighting the fires out there. Jim Evans and his wife, Nancy, thank you so much.
Okay. Good talking to you.